The conference hall stretched for nearly a kilometer, its crystalline walls reflecting the light of 1,000 alien worlds. Ambassador Marcus Webb stood at the center of the chamber, his human delegation of 12 looking impossibly small among the hundreds of alien representatives. Above them, holographic displays showed the faces of the Galactic Council, 15 species that ruled over 847 civilizations across 12,000 star systems. Marcus had prepared his speech for months. He spoke of peace, of shared knowledge, of humanity's desire to join the galactic community as friends and partners. His words echoed in the vast space, translated instantly into thousands of languages by technology humanity barely understood. The response came from High Chancellor Vexthar, a being that looked like a floating collection of metallic ribbons. Its voice boomed through the hall without warmth or welcome. Species 1847H, designated Humanity. Your application for membership in the galactic sovereignty has been reviewed. You are denied. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Around him, his team shifted uncomfortably. They had not expected rejection. Every species that achieved faster than light travel was invited to join. That was the law that had stood for 10,000 years. Forgive me, Chancellor, Marcus said carefully. Might I ask why? Your species achieved interstellar flight only 3 months ago. You possess no significant technology. Your world's number only 1. Your military strength is negligible. You have nothing to offer the sovereignty. Another voice joined in, this one belonging to War Master Kexthor of the Xanthic Empire. The creature stood 4 meters tall, covered in scales that gleamed like polished steel. Its eyes burned with barely concealed contempt. Your species spent 10,000 years trapped on a single world, Kexthor said. While we built empires among the stars, you fought wars over dirt and water. You are primitives, children playing with stolen fire. Marcus kept his face neutral, though anger burned in his chest. We may be new to space travel, but we are not primitives. We have much to contribute. You have nothing we need, Vexthar interrupted. However, the sovereignty is not without mercy. We offer you a choice. Submit to vassal status under the Xanthic Empire. Accept governance and guidance. In 300 years, if you prove worthy, you may petition for limited autonomy. 300 years, longer than most human nations had existed, to become subjects, servants, second-class citizens in their own solar system. And if we refuse? Marcus asked quietly. The silence that followed was heavy. Then Kexthor laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Then we will provide corrective action. All species must learn their place. Some learn through wisdom, others learn through pain. The meeting ended. The human delegation was escorted back to their ship and given 48 hours to deliver Earth's answer. As their vessel left the station, Marcus sent an encrypted message back home. One word: denied. On Earth, the governments held emergency sessions. News channels showed images of the alien council, of Kexthor's threatening posture, of humanity's humiliation on the galactic stage. People argued in the streets. Some wanted to submit to buy time, others refused to bow to alien masters. The decision came from the United Earth Assembly after 30 hours of debate. Their answer was simple: no. Marcus delivered the message personally, broadcasting it to the Galactic Council from Earth's moon. Humanity thanks the sovereignty for their offer, but we must respectfully decline. We will remain independent and hope that in time, we might meet as equals rather than masters and servants. Kexthor's response came 12 hours later. The Xanthic Third Fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. 200 warships, each the size of a small city, their weapons capable of cracking planets. They moved in perfect formation, an armada of death sliding through the darkness toward humanity's home. Marcus watched from Luna Base, Earth's largest moon colony. 12,000 people lived and worked in the underground city, scientists and engineers building humanity's future among the stars. Now he watched that future die. The defense fleet launched from Earth, 37 ships, humanity's entire military presence in space. They were modern, built with the best technology Earth possessed. They lasted 8 minutes. The Xanthic weapons were beyond human understanding. Beams of purple energy that made ships simply cease to exist. Missiles that phased through armor as if it were not there. In 8 minutes, 37 human vessels became clouds of debris and frozen bodies. Then Kexthor gave the demonstration. Luna Base had no military value. It was a civilian colony, homes and schools and gardens under the gray moon dust. The Xanthic flagship fired once. A single lance of energy hit the moon's surface. The underground city vaporized instantly. 12,000 people became atoms, scattered into space faster than their neurons could register pain. Where Luna Base had stood, a new crater glowed red with molten rock. Kex Thor's message reached Earth moments later. You see now the price of arrogance. You are insects. We are gods. You have 48 hours to surrender unconditionally. If you refuse, we will demonstrate again. Perhaps on your capital cities. Perhaps on your oceans. We will keep demonstrating until you understand. The broadcast ended. Earth fell silent. In cities across the planet, people looked up at the sky where the Xanthic fleet waited, and they knew that nothing humanity possessed could stop them. The aliens had spoken the truth. They were gods and humanity was nothing. Deep beneath Cheyenne Mountain, in a facility that officially did not exist, General Sarah Chen watched the destruction of Luna Base on a dozen screens. Her face remained calm, but her hands gripped the arms of her chair until her knuckles turned white. 12,000 people, someone whispered behind her. Yes, Sarah said quietly. 12,000 martyrs who just bought us the moral authority to do what comes next. She turned to face the room full of military officers and scientists. Activate Protocol Archimedes. The word seemed to electrify the room. Officers moved to their stations. Encrypted messages shot out to hidden facilities across the solar system. Lights turned green on boards that had stayed dark for decades. Colonel James Park stepped forward. General, are we certain? Once we activate, there is no going back. The whole galaxy will know what we have been hiding. They murdered 12,000 civilians to make a point, Sarah said. They think we are helpless. They think we have nothing. It is time to show them how wrong they are. She walked to the main display, where Earth hung like a blue jewel surrounded by red dots marking enemy ships. Gentlemen, lady, the galaxy is about to learn a very important lesson. Humanity does not fight fair. We fight to win. The story of Protocol Archimedes began 70 years earlier in 1977. The Voyager probes carried messages to the stars, golden records showing humanity's best face. But some scientists had asked a darker question. What if whoever found those messages was not friendly? The government buried that question in classified files, but they also started preparing for the answer. While humanity built its first public space stations and sent peaceful missions to Mars, another program ran in the shadows. Military bases were carved into asteroids and hidden in the ice of Jupiter's moons. Underwater facilities were built in Earth's deepest oceans, their reactors powered by geothermal vents that left no heat signature in space. When the first faster-than-light drives were tested, the public versions failed. They required too much energy, too many resources. But the military versions worked perfectly. Humanity sent probes into deep space, studying, watching, preparing. They found the galactic sovereignty 40 years before making official contact. They watched the alien civilizations, learned their languages, studied their technology, and humanity's best minds asked themselves one question: how do we fight gods? The answer came from physics. The aliens had amazing technology, shields that could stop energy weapons, armor that could repair itself, ships that could cross the galaxy in days. But they all obeyed the same laws of physics that governed humanity. And physics, when properly applied, could not be stopped. Dr. Raymond Torres had proposed the first weapon. We cannot match their energy weapons, he told the committee. We cannot build their shields, but we can accelerate mass to relativistic speeds. And mass moving at 90% the speed of light carries energy no shield can stop. The kinetic kill vehicles were born, simple tungsten rods each weighing 1 ton, accelerated by railguns powered by fusion reactors. When they hit at near light speed, they carried the explosive force of nuclear weapons. But they left no radiation, produced no warning, and moved too fast for most sensors to detect. Sarah pulled up the display showing the solar system. Red dots marked the Xanthic fleet near Earth. But now green dots appeared, thousands of them, scattered throughout the system. Those are our weapons platforms, she explained to the younger officers who had never been briefed. Every mining ship, every cargo hauler, every satellite humanity has launched in the last 50 years. Half of them were not civilian vessels. They were military platforms with civilian camouflage. She zoomed in on the asteroid belt. We have bases inside 17 asteroids. Each one contains fusion reactors, railguns, and enough ammunition to fight for years. The Xanthic fleet thinks they are surrounded by rocks and ice. They are actually surrounded by the largest weapon system humanity has ever built. Another officer spoke up. What about Earth's defense fleet? They were destroyed in minutes. Sarah smiled coldly. That was the defense fleet the sovereignty was supposed to see. Older ships, visible technology, nothing threatening. The aliens needed to think they had won easily. She pressed a button and new dots appeared on the screen, this time in blue. This is the Terran Defense Network, our real military. There were hundreds of blue dots. Ships hidden in the shadows of moons. Stations cloaked with stealth technology humanity had spent decades perfecting. Weapons platforms that had drifted as dead debris for years while their crews waited in hibernation. The sovereignty thinks we have been in space for 3 months, Sarah continued. The truth is we have been militarizing this solar system for 50 years. Every probe, every mission, every peaceful scientific expedition was also a military operation. We built our defenses in secret because we knew this day would come. She pulled up another file. The Kasaba howitzer, nuclear-shaped charges that focus 90% of a bomb's energy into a beam. Temperature, millions of degrees. Range, thousands of kilometers. We have 3,000 of them. More files appeared. Quantum-entangled communication that could not be intercepted. Hunter-killer drones that could track ships through faster than light travel. And the crown jewel, wormhole generators small enough to fit inside a briefcase. The Xanthic fleet has 48 hours to our surrender, Sarah said. We will give them something else instead. We will give them a demonstration of human ingenuity. She turned to her command staff. Launch all platforms. Drop the camouflage. Let them see what they are really facing. Across the solar system, the transformation began. Mining ships stopped pretending to mine. Their hulls split open, revealing railguns and missile batteries. Cargo haulers dropped their civilian markings and activated military-grade engines. Satellites that had drifted dead for years suddenly came alive, their weapon systems powering up. In the asteroid belt, 17 mountains of rock split open like flowers, revealing the fortresses hidden inside. Each one lit up with fusion fire, their reactors generating enough power to supply entire planets. The Xanthic fleet's sensors screamed warnings. Where moments before they had seen empty space, they now detected thousands of weapons platforms. The solar system had transformed from a peaceful backwater into the most heavily defended military position the galaxy had ever seen. Aboard the Xanthic flagship, Kexthor stared at his displays in disbelief. What is this? Where did all these weapons come from? His sensor officer's voice shook. War Master, the humans have been hiding their military strength. We are surrounded. I count over 4,000 active weapons platforms. Energy readings suggest multiple fusion reactors. They have enough firepower to what? Kexthor demanded. The officer looked up, his face pale. To fight the entire sovereignty fleet, War Master. These are not primitives. This is a prepared military force. Kexthor felt a cold weight in his stomach. He had made a terrible mistake. But pride made him push forward. They are still just humans. Prepare to engage. Show them what true power looks like. From Earth, Sarah watched the enemy fleet begin to move. She opened a channel that broadcast to every ship in the Xanthic Armada. This is General Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Network. You have entered our system uninvited. You have murdered our civilians. You have demanded our surrender. She paused, letting her words sink in. We refuse. And now you will learn why humanity spent 50 years preparing for this moment. You wanted to teach us our place in the galaxy. Instead, we will teach you the price of underestimating humanity. She closed the channel and gave the order that would change galactic history. Fire everything. The Battle of Sol began without warning or ceremony. One moment, the Xanthic Third Fleet hung in space near Earth, confident in their superiority. The next moment, hell arrived at the speed of light. The first weapon to strike was light itself. Hidden in the lunar surface, buried beneath the crater where Luna Base had stood, were humanity's directed energy weapons. They were not elegant alien technology. They were nuclear bombs shaped to turn their fury into beams of pure destruction. 3,000 Kasaba howitzers fired simultaneously. Nuclear explosions compressed and focused through magnetic fields became lances of plasma, traveling at significant fractions of light speed. The beams crossed the distance to the Xanthic fleet in seconds. War Master Kexthor saw the flashes on the moon's surface. He opened his mouth to give orders. Then the beams hit his ships. The xanthic shields were designed to stop energy weapons. They worked by creating fields that absorbed and dispersed incoming energy across a wide area. They were effective against lasers, particle beams, and most conventional weapons. They were not designed to stop the focused output of 3,000 nuclear explosions all arriving at once. The shields flared, overloaded, and failed. 27 xanthic warships simply ceased to exist, their hulls vaporized by temperatures found only in the hearts of stars. Another 43 ships survived with catastrophic damage, their armor boiling away, their crews dying in their thousands. Kexthor's flagship rocked from a near miss. His bridge crew scrambled to respond, but the next wave was already arriving. The railguns fired from the asteroid fortresses. Simple physics governed these weapons. Take a solid tungsten rod. Accelerate it using magnetic coils powered by fusion reactors. Push it faster and faster until it reaches 90% of light speed. At that velocity, a 1-ton rod carries kinetic energy equivalent to 84 million tons of TNT. The xanthic fleet never saw them coming. The rods were too small, too fast, and produced no energy signature until impact. They were invisible death, riding on the laws of physics. The projectiles hit at 270,000 kilometers per second. Xanthic shields, already weakened by the Kasaba howitzers, provided no protection. The tungsten rods passed through energy barriers as if they were not there. When they hit armor, they did not explode. They did not need to. Their kinetic energy was so enormous that matter itself failed. Xanthic warships crumpled like paper. Metal superheated and vaporized instantly. The impacts released more energy than most civilizations used in a year. Where mighty vessels had floated moments before, now there was only expanding plasma and debris traveling at relativistic speeds. 32 more ships died in the railgun barrage. The survivors scattered, trying to evade, but there was nowhere to run. The solar system was a shooting gallery, and humanity controlled every angle. Kexathor screamed orders. Return fire. Destroy those fortresses! Target everything. The xanthic fleet finally began to fight back. Purple energy beams lanced out toward the human positions. Missiles that could phase through matter streaked toward the asteroid bases. The aliens possessed weapons that could crack planets, and now they unleashed everything. But humanity had spent 50 years studying xanthic tactics. They knew exactly how the aliens would respond. The asteroid fortresses were decoys. Oh, they had weapons, and they had fired the first railgun shots. But their primary purpose was to draw enemy fire. The aliens obliged, pouring devastating firepower into the asteroids. Rock and metal exploded. One fortress took a direct hit from a xanthic planet cracker missile and simply ceased to exist, its fusion reactors going critical in a flash brighter than a sun. But while the aliens focused on the obvious targets, the real attack came from everywhere else. Hidden in the shadows of Jupiter's moons, Earth's stealth fleet activated. 50 warships, each one coated in materials that absorbed sensor sweeps, each one running cold and silent for weeks. Now they lit up their engines and charged into the battle. They moved fast, using trajectory assist from Jupiter's gravity. They fired as they came, launching weapons the xanthic fleet had never seen before. The missiles were small, each one barely larger than a human. But inside each missile was a miniature wormhole generator. When they reached their targets, they did not explode. Instead, they opened tiny doorways in space, connecting to points light years away. What came through those doorways was seawater. Millions of tons of seawater from Earth's oceans, pressurized and superheated, erupting into space at hypersonic speeds. It was a ridiculous weapon. Water should have frozen instantly in the vacuum of space. But the wormholes kept the water flowing, kept the pressure building. The superheated jets hit xanthic ships like hammers. The sheer mass and velocity overwhelming shields designed for energy weapons. Ship after ship found their hulls breached by what amounted to impossibly powerful water cutters. The water flash froze once inside, expanding and cracking bulkheads. Systems failed. Crews died drowning in space. Their ships flooded with ice. 28 more xanthic vessels were destroyed or crippled by weaponized seawater. It was absurd. It was brilliant. It was human. Kexthor watched his fleet die around him. 200 ships had entered the Sol system. In less than 20 minutes, over half were gone. The humans were fighting with weapons that made no sense, tactics that should not work, and a viciousness that shocked even a career warrior. They are not fighting like a military, his tactical officer said in horror. They are fighting like they want to exterminate us. The officer was right. Humanity was not trying to disable or capture enemy ships. Every human weapon was designed for one purpose: to kill as efficiently as possible. There were no warning shots, no attempts at communication, no mercy. The hunter-killer drones arrived next. Thousands of small craft, each one barely larger than a fighter, each one carrying a single nuclear warhead. They swarmed the Xanthic fleet like angry insects. The aliens tried to shoot them down. They succeeded with many, but there were too many targets. The drones were fast, maneuverable, and operated with artificial intelligence that made split-second decisions. They dodged, weaved, and accepted losses to get their remaining numbers to their targets. When the drones reached Xanthic ships, they did not try to find weak points. They simply accelerated to maximum speed and rammed. The nuclear warheads detonated on impact. At close range, even Xanthic armor could not withstand direct nuclear explosions. 57 more ships died in nuclear fire. The survivors were scattered, disorganized, and panicking. Their formation had broken. Their command structure was chaos. Ship captains made individual decisions to flee or fight with no coordination. From Earth, General Chen watched the battle with grim satisfaction. "Status report," she commanded. "Enemy fleet reduced to 41 operational vessels," an officer reported. "Our losses are 17 weapons platforms destroyed and 4 stealth ships damaged. We have expended 38% of our ammunition, 41 ships out of 200. The Xanthic Third Fleet, one of the Sovereignty's most powerful armadas, had been reduced to a broken remnant in under an hour." Chen opened a wideband channel. "Attention, Xanthic forces. You are defeated. Power down your weapons and surrender, and you will be treated according to the laws of war. Continue fighting and we will finish what you started." Kexthor heard the transmission. Around him, his bridge crew looked to him for orders. He saw the defeat in their eyes, the fear. They had expected an easy victory. They had gotten a slaughter. Pride warred with survival instinct in Kexthor's mind. But he was a warrior, not a fool. He had lost. Continuing the fight would only kill more of his people for nothing. "Power down weapons," he said quietly. "Prepare for surrender." But one ship did not listen. A junior captain, enraged by the defeat, broke formation and charged toward Earth. His ship's weapons charged for one final strike at the human homeworld. He did not make it. A tungsten rod traveling at 90% light speed hit his ship amidships. The vessel exploded into a brief new star, visible from Earth's surface. The remaining 40 ships powered down their weapons. The Battle of Sol was over. Chen allowed herself one moment of satisfaction before issuing new orders. "Secure the prisoners. Begin recovery operations. And send a message to the Galactic Council." She smiled coldly. "Let them know what happened here. Let them know that humanity is not prey. We are predators who learned patience." The message was sent on all frequencies, impossible to miss or ignore. It contained full tactical data from the battle, sensor logs, and a simple statement that would echo across the galaxy. The Third Fleet attacked Sol with 200 ships. 40 ships survived to surrender. Earth stands. Humanity will not submit. If you come in peace, we will meet you as friends. If you come with violence, you will meet the same fate as the Third Fleet. Choose wisely. The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the transmission from Sol ended. 15 species representing thousands of worlds stared at the tactical displays showing the destruction of the Third Fleet. High Chancellor Fexthar's metallic ribbons hung limp with shock. "Impossible," someone whispered. 200 ships lost to primitives? Minister Qualvin of the Sisterhood spoke up, her 6 eyes blinking in rapid succession, a sign of deep concern. "Not impossible. Not primitives. We made a catastrophic error in assessment. They got lucky," War Coordinator Thexmal insisted, his crystalline body pulsing with angry red light. "One battle means nothing." The Third Fleet was unprepared. They did not take the humans seriously. Qualvin turned to face him. "They had weapons we have never seen, tactics we could not predict. They turned their entire solar system into a fortress without us knowing. That is not luck. That is planning. It is also treachery," Vexthar said coldly. "They came to us as innocent newcomers seeking guidance, all while hiding a military force capable of destroying a sovereignty fleet. They lied to us from the beginning." "Did they?" Qualvin asked. "I have reviewed the first contact records. The humans never claimed to be peaceful. They never said they were defenseless. We assumed those things because they were new to faster-than-light travel. We judged them by our own standards and found them wanting. Now we have learned the price of our arrogance. Enough, Thexmal said. The humans won one battle through deception and surprise. They will not fool us again. I propose we send the first Grand Armada to Sol. 5,000 ships representing the combined might of the sovereignty. Let us see how their clever tricks work against overwhelming force. The vote was taken. Qualven argued against it, warning that they did not understand what they were facing. But fear and wounded pride won the day. The Galactic Council authorized the Grand Armada to crush humanity once and for all. On Earth, General Chen received intelligence about the Council's decision within hours. The Xanthic prisoners had been surprisingly cooperative once they realized humanity treated captives with dignity. They had provided detailed information about sovereignty military capabilities, communication protocols, and political structures. They had also revealed something critically important. The sovereignty was slow to adapt. They had fought wars the same way for thousands of years because their tactics always worked. They had never faced an enemy that thought differently. Chen called a meeting of Earth's military leadership and its best strategic minds. They are sending 5,000 ships. Our ammunition is depleted from the first battle. We cannot win a straight fight. Then we do not fight straight, said Colonel Park. We have 2 months before the Grand Armada arrives. We use that time to change the battlefield. What do you propose? We go on offense. We take the fight to them. Chen leaned back in her chair. Explain. Park pulled up a star map. For 50 years we have been watching the sovereignty. We mapped their trade routes, identified their shipyards, located their command centers. We also sent agents into their territory. The room stirred with surprise. Chen raised an eyebrow. Agents how? Captured alien vessels. When we found sovereignty ships that strayed into our sensor range, we took them. Quietly. The aliens thought they had accidents or equipment failures. We studied the ships, learned to operate them, and sent our people into sovereignty space wearing disguises. For 20 years we have had human operatives working on alien worlds, watching, learning, preparing. Chen felt a smile cross her face. And now we activate them. Now we activate them, Park agreed. We call it Protocol Ragnarok. If the sovereignty wants total war, we will show them what total war really means. The orders went out through quantum-entangled communicators that could not be intercepted. Across sovereignty space, in shipyards and on military bases, among cargo fleets and on industrial worlds, human agents received the same message. Begin sabotage operations. Primary target, the Grand Armada. Elena Vasquez had spent 12 years on the Xanthic homeworld working as a maintenance engineer on military vessels. She wore a biosynthetic suit that made her appear Xanthic to casual observation. She had learned their language, adopted their customs, and waited for orders that she hoped would never come. Now those orders arrived. She accessed her hidden equipment and assembled a device the size of a briefcase. Inside was humanity's most experimental weapon, a miniaturized wormhole generator set to create unstable portals. She placed the device in the main shipyard, where 3 new warships were under construction. The bomb would open a wormhole directly into a star. For exactly 3 seconds, stellar matter at millions of degrees would pour through before the portal collapsed. The shipyard and everything in it would be vaporized. Elena set the timer for 6 hours, giving her time to escape, and walked away. She was one of 47 human agents conducting similar operations across sovereignty space that day. The bombs detonated simultaneously. Wormholes opened in critical infrastructure across 24 worlds. Shipyards exploded, supply depots burned, command centers collapsed. In 6 hours of coordinated chaos, humanity destroyed years of sovereignty military preparation. The Grand Armada found its supply lines cut and its support infrastructure crippled. Repair facilities were gone. Ammunition stockpiles were destroyed. The fleet that was supposed to crush Earth suddenly found itself struggling to maintain readiness, but humanity was not done. Dr. Chen unveiled the Fermi solution in a briefing that made even hardened military officers pale. For 30 years, we have been developing von Neumann probes, she explained, self-replicating machines that can harvest raw materials from asteroids and build copies of themselves. We designed them for peaceful purposes initially, to help us expand into space. She pulled up a video showing a probe landing on an asteroid. It began extracting minerals, building components, and assembling new probes. The process took 3 weeks. Then those new probes launched to other asteroids and repeated the process. We seeded these probes in uninhabited star systems throughout this region of space. They have been replicating quietly for 2 decades. We now have approximately 12 million probes distributed across 400 systems. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Each probe can be reprogrammed remotely, Chen continued. Instead of building more probes, they can build weapons platforms, missile batteries, or kinetic impactors. Given sufficient resources, they can dismantle entire planets to create war material. She showed a simulation. The von Neumann swarm descended on an asteroid belt. Within weeks, the asteroids were gone, converted into millions of weapons. Within months, every piece of matter in the system that was not a planet had been transformed into components of a vast military machine. We can weaponize star systems faster than the sovereignty can mobilize fleets to defend them, Chen said quietly. If they insist on war, we will turn the galaxy into a battlefield where every asteroid, every moon, every piece of debris becomes a potential weapon aimed at them. She opened a channel to the Galactic Council. Her message was broadcast to every sovereignty world simultaneously. This is General Sarah Chen of Earth. We did not want this war. We came in peace. You rejected us. You attacked us. You killed our civilians. We responded with minimal necessary force. Now you are sending 5,000 ships to destroy our homeworld. She paused, letting her words sink in across 1,000 worlds. We will not allow it. This transmission shows you the Fermi solution. We have the capability to weaponize entire star systems. We can turn raw matter into weapons faster than you can comprehend. If your Grand Armada enters the Sol system, we will not just defeat it. We will dismantle every sovereignty military asset within 100 light years. The transmission showed footage of a von Neumann swarm consuming an asteroid belt in an uninhabited system, turning rock and ice into weapons platforms at exponential speed. You have underestimated us at every turn. You assumed we were weak because we were new. You assumed we were ignorant because we came seeking friendship. You were wrong. We are not pacifists. We are survivors who learned to plan for the worst. Chen leaned forward, her expression hard as diamond. I am giving you one chance. Stand down the Grand Armada. Agree to negotiate as equals. If you do this, we will share our technology and knowledge freely. We will become the allies we wanted to be from the start. But if you continue this war, we will show you the true meaning of exponential growth applied to military force. We will not conquer you. We will not enslave you. But we will make it impossible for you to threaten us ever again. The transmission ended. Across sovereignty space, leaders watched the footage and understood they were facing something unprecedented, a species that weaponized mathematics itself, a civilization that could turn the galaxy into a factory for war machines. On the sovereignty capital world, High Chancellor Vexthar convened an emergency session. The debate raged for 18 hours. Some wanted to call humanity's bluff. Others argued they could not afford to be wrong. Minister Qualvin spoke last. We have a choice. We can have humanity as allies or enemies. As allies, they offer knowledge and capability beyond our own in certain areas. As enemies, they offer extinction. The decision seems clear to me. The vote was taken. The Grand Armada was recalled. The sovereignty requested formal negotiations with Earth. Humanity had won not through battle, but through the threat of capabilities so terrible that even attempting to verify them was too dangerous. The galaxy learned a new truth that day. The most dangerous species are not always the strongest. Sometimes they are simply the ones who prepare most thoroughly for war, while hoping never to use it. The first Grand Armada dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system expecting war. 5,000 ships representing 43 species, enough firepower to glass 100 worlds, arrived in perfect battle formation. What they found was a demonstration. Mercury, the small planet closest to Earth's sun, was surrounded by activity. Millions of small craft swarmed across its surface like ants on a carcass. The planet itself appeared to be coming apart. Admiral Korath, commander of the Grand Armada, stared at his sensors in disbelief.
What are they doing?
His science officer ran calculations, her mandibles clicking nervously. Sir, they are dismantling the planet. Those are von Neumann machines. Millions of them. They are breaking Mercury down to its component atoms and rebuilding the material into orbital structures. How long has this been happening? Based on the progress, approximately 36 hours. 36 hours. In a day and a half, humanity had begun consuming an entire planet. Korath watched as more structures appeared in orbit around where Mercury had been. Solar collectors, weapons platforms, ship components, all being assembled from raw planetary matter at a speed that made his head spin. A transmission arrived from Earth. It was General Chen again, her face calm and professional. "Admiral Korath, welcome to the Sol system. We received word that you were coming to attack our homeworld. We decided to show you what would happen if you did." The image switched to show Mercury's disassembly in real time. The von Neumann swarm worked with mechanical precision, stripping away crust and mantle, sorting materials, building new machines that joined the swarm. The planet was not being destroyed. It was being transformed. "What you are watching is exponential industrial growth weaponized," Chen explained. "In 3 days, Mercury will be gone. In its place will be a Dyson swarm, 70 million individual stations collecting solar energy and manufacturing war materiel. By the end of the first week, we will have produced more weapons platforms than your entire fleet. By the end of the first month, we will have converted all the inner planets except Earth into military infrastructure." She paused, letting the implications sink in. "This is not a threat, Admiral. This is a fact. If we wanted to fight you, we would win not through better ships or superior tactics, but through overwhelming industrial capacity. We would bury you in numbers. We would make war machines faster than you could destroy them. This is what you came to fight." The transmission changed again. This time it showed a captured Xanthic officer, War Master Kexthor himself, seated in a comfortable room that was clearly a human facility. "I am Kexthor of the Xanthic Empire," he said, his voice tired but firm. "I led the Third Fleet against Earth. I believed humans were primitives. I was wrong." He looked directly into the camera. "The sovereignty thinks it understands war because we have fought for 10,000 years. But our wars were all the same. Different species, same tactics, predictable outcomes. Humanity fights differently." Kexthor gestured around him. "I am a prisoner of war. According to sovereignty law, I should be executed or enslaved. Instead, the humans gave me medical care, comfortable quarters, and respect. They treat their enemies with dignity even while destroying them militarily. This is incomprehensible to us." He leaned forward, his expression intense. "I have spent weeks studying human history. They have been fighting wars since before they had written language. They have destroyed themselves repeatedly and rebuilt. They have developed thousands of different ways to kill each other. War is not something they do. It is something they are." The former War Master's voice dropped to nearly a whisper. "But here is what the Council must understand. Humans do not want to fight. They hate war. They hate killing. Every human I have spoken to wishes they did not need weapons or armies. But they are so good at war precisely because they fear it. They prepare for it obsessively because they know its cost. They do not fight for glory or conquest. They fight for survival, and when they fight to win absolutely." Kexthor looked away from the camera. "They are not warriors. They are survivors who learned to make war a science, and that makes them more dangerous than any species the sovereignty has ever faced." The transmission returned to General Chen. "Admiral Korath, I am sure you have orders to attack if we show any weakness. But I ask you to consider what you have seen. Mercury is gone not because we destroyed it, but because we transformed it. We did in days what would take most species decades." She stood, her posture formal and military. "The sovereignty operates under a fundamental misunderstanding. You believe that advanced technology makes you superior. You think your shields, your weapons, your faster-than-light travel prove you are better than us. But technology is just applied science, and science is just mathematics. We are very, very good at mathematics." The image showed Earth beautiful and blue, surrounded by defensive stations and ships. "We did not come to the stars to conquer. We came seeking friends, knowledge, and a place in the galactic community. You rejected us. You attacked us. You forced us to reveal what we had spent half a century building." Chen's expression softened slightly. "But we do not want war, Admiral. We never did. What we want is simple. Respect. Recognition. A voice at the table as equals, not subjects. We want to share what we have learned and learn from what you know. We want trade, culture exchange, cooperation. These are not complicated requests." She clasped her hands behind her back. "So I am making you an offer. Turn your fleet around. Go back to the sovereignty capital. Tell them what you saw here. Tell them that humanity will defend itself with whatever force necessary. But we would much rather defend the galaxy alongside you as allies."